Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a registered nurse and have a podcast for nurses? Well, stay tuned to our guest. My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be wealthy in all areas of their lives. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. You can follow us on Twitter at The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. You can also visit us at our website at vpnursing.com. So our special guest today is Annemarie Tolman. Annemarie is a Hopkins educated RN who loves everything surrounding the human brain and conscious growth. She mentors high achievers on how to find true change in their lives and livelihoods by optimizing the brain-body connection. Her NeuroScore 360 formula changes not only the mindset, but also the intentions of the heart and that gut feeling for so many of us ignore. As a nurse healer, she provides mental fitness programs to help kids and adults optimize their mental fitness levels. In her podcast, Brains 2.0, she encourages people to share their stories around mental health and find solutions, encouragement, and triumph after trauma. As an RN, she continues to support nurses with their mental fitness and entrepreneurship worldwide through her consulting and Nurses Outside the Box podcast. Annemarie is a mother of 5. You go, girl. You go. Loves volleyball, dancing, globe-trotting, and being with her kids and her friends. So welcome.
Thank you. It is so good to be here, Dr. V. So good.
So tell us a little bit, other than about yourself, other than what we just know. And like, why did you become a nurse from the beginning?
Well, I'm from the Netherlands originally. And I think what I became a nurse was really, I was 18, right? What do you know when you're 18? But it was like, I honestly wanted to help people. And I wanted to have a profession that I could be flexible with. And I heard that nurses really are very flexible. They do multiple things. And I was like, wow, that sounds good. So that's how I started. And then I came to the United States very soon after. I only practiced for about 6 months after I graduated in the Netherlands. And then I came to Hopkins and started my career there. So, but the idea was standard. I wanted to help people. I mean, it sounds so crazy, right? But that was really the reason.
Well, that's the original reason. Not everybody goes into it for that reasoning, but yes. So when we first met and discussed coming on stage together, you mentioned that you could speak to spirituality. So what in your journey has made you tap into your spiritual side? And why did you think that it is so important for nurses to have a spiritual foundation?
Well, it was my own trauma actually that got in there. And so I had 3 kids, and then we were pregnant with our 4th kid, and then our 4th baby was born with trisomy 18. And we didn't know any of that until he was born, and he lived for 4 days. And I was actually, he lived on a ventilator for a couple of days, and then we took him home, and we were privileged enough to take him home. I was like, I have to take this baby home. He was meant to die, and we thought he would die in the hospital. I have to take him off the breathing machine. And then he didn't. And then there was this feeling, the strongest feeling I think I've ever had in my life was like, take me home. And it was like, he was talking to me. He was literally talking to me. And like, wait a minute, who's talking to me? But it was him. And so I was said to the doctor, I need to take him home. And they're like, you can't, there's nothing set up. And I'm like, I need to take him home. I don't care if it's against medical advice. I don't care if he dies in the car. I need to take him home. I just need to take him home. And so I took him home. And when we got home, we spent the most magical night together, where he just was laying on my chest and I was just talking and going in and out of sleep a little bit. And it was just like I could sense him as a very powerful spirit actually close to me. So he lived for another day, and my kids were able to hold him without the machines and everything else. And then after he passed away, I felt his voice. I heard him. I was like, there's so much more to this consciousness than I'm aware of. And there were times in that grieving period, 3 or 4 days after, that people expected for me to be in tears, and I cried, and it was hard. But at the same time, I had touched something. I knew that this was an eternal being that I could be with forever in some way or another. He would be my eternal connection, or my son, whatever you want to say. And for every single year afterwards, and many times, I just feel him. He's there. He's there on Mother's Day. He's there on my birthday. He's just is present. So I think that really got me thinking. There's so much more to spirituality, to this consciousness that we just are not willing to, or not feeling in general. So that's how it all came to be. And I think, why do nurses need to know that, or why do people in general need to know that? It changes your life. It becomes all the small things in your life. When you touch into that feeling and into that spirituality, you don't sweat the small things as much. You really don't. It changes your perspective on life and why we're here, right? It really changes that.
So that makes me cry a little bit. So I don't know if you know, but I have my mom is on comfort care right now. She has COVID. And it really is. It is that conscious. It is that go, go, go. It is that, I feel she is with me, and that she wants me to be that higher being, right?
Right.
She wants, much better. And she's speaking to me. And you're right. Those petty things don't matter anymore. I got upset about something that someone said to me at one point in time. And I remember God specifically speaking to me and saying, don't you sweat the small stuff, and don't you get into that. It is okay. You have to come back, and you have to be who you are to be, because that stuff just doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
You're so right. You're so right. I'm so sorry about your mom, and I'm so happy at the same time to feel that connection, because I think we can feel it, right?
Right.
No matter where we are. Sometimes we think we have to be right close to them. We don't. Our spirits connect, right? Our spirits connect. Our divine spirits connect through everything, through every space, through every. Yeah, it just we can connect, and I think that's magical.
Right.
Right.
So now, tell me about being a mother and a nurse, and how the journey in nursing has impacted motherhood, because you have 5 children.
Yeah,
I mean, I went 4, right? And I was like, okay, this whole pregnancy stuff, this is not working for me. I'm gonna need to stop that. So essentially, you were pregnant how many times?
6 times actually, but
6
5
times.
Yes. So 5 times, but yeah, and it's funny. I include my son Daniel, who passed away, in those 5, and that's a promise I made actually to him, that I would always say that I had 5 kids, or whatever it was at that point. It was 4 kids, because I had a baby after him. That I would always say that, and I've always been able to say that. So, how did it impact my nursing? I cut back a lot in the beginning with when they were very, very small. I actually cut back, and I actually took a break from nursing for a while. I was like, especially after Daniel passed away, I'm like, I want to be home. I want to be home with my other kids, right? So I homeschooled them and traveled and did all kind of fun stuff with them, until I decided, well, I have to go back. But being a mom, again, it made me more aware of what really matters again, and also in nursing, what really matters. I think it made me a better nurse, because I think you can relate more to other parents, other moms especially too, and you can know that life has its ups and downs, and whatever you're going through right now, it's okay, right? You can take some breath, and it's okay. Whatever that journey is that God has for you, take it. Right? Not everything with my kids have been ideal. I'm not a perfect mom with my kids, right? And I think we try so hard, and there's something, especially with nurses, we try so hard to do everything right, and to I think it's something with nurses where we try to please almost everybody, right? And it's not possible.
Right,
and it's
right.
not possible to do it all right, and it's not possible to make everybody happy. It just isn't. And I think the more you accept that, and the more I've accepted for myself, and as a mom, I'm also not I'm not perfect, and I'm also I mean they're 16 to 24 right now, right? So it's a very different age group right now, and they've had their struggles as they're growing into adulthood in some cases, and well, everybody in their own way has had some kind of stuff to deal with, and I've had to say, well, it's okay, you
You
can
know,
you can.
touched on a couple of nuggets. First of all, that we try to be perfect, and I think we try to be perfect because of the fact that we are nurses, and because we know that our patient population depends on us, right?
Yeah.
And so we want that perfection, and not always are we going to show up perfect. We just didn't need to deliver the most efficient and effective care to our patient as we can, but also and that pleasing, right? We can't please everybody. Jesus, who was the one who walked the earth, who was God in human form. I mean, he didn't please everybody, so there's no way in the world that we could please everybody, right?
I
And
love
so
that. Yes, I love that.
so
Mhm.
there's just no way. And so also I remember this kid coming in, and the kid was walking around the kitchen, and the kid walked to the stove, and it was an old stove, and the kid put her hand up against the stove, and when she put her hand up against the stove, she burned her hand.
Mhm.
And so I remember the parents just being upset because we had to send the kid to a tertiary care facility because
Wow.
it was it's hands, it's feet, it's genital areas. If you burn those, then we have to send you, because those are functional parts of your body, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I remember feeling their pain because they had few resources, that didn't have a whole lot. And just trying to explain to them, I understand, I'm a parent, I get it, but this is important because this will affect your child for the rest of their lives. So
Yeah.
yes, I think it does make you a much, much better nurse. Now, you have a podcast or two. What is your primary reason that you started the podcast, and how has it benefited your family?
The podcast was really just a fluke, to be honest. It was like, oh my goodness, so I had been like I'd come back into nursing right after many years, and it didn't really work out. I really didn't want to be in the hospital anymore. So I decided to go more into healing and coaching for as a nurse, right? Which is a whole different career. And for a while I didn't call myself a nurse. I really didn't call myself. I kept my license, but I didn't really call myself a nurse. I started going to general coaching and healing. And then the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, it's the year of the nurse. Why don't I do a podcast around nurses and how phenomenal they are? Because I love nurses, right? And I have so many nurses, phenomenal people I know. So I started on LinkedIn, and I started on the podcast. And as I did so, and COVID came around, and I was like, well, do I want to go back to the bedside, right? But it's been 10 years since I started going to bedside. I'm like, oh, probably not. But I think it made me realize that I'm still a nurse. And even in my coaching and healing and everything I do, I'm still a nurse. And then I started doing this podcast and came along, and it's called Nurse Outside the Box, right? Innovative nurses like you and like so many phenomenal nurses. And they just start coming to me. And I think God sent them to me and saying, hey, interview these nurses, provide a platform for nurses, because we need to show how wonderful and amazing things we are doing, because there are nurses who are doing amazing, amazing, amazing things. And there's not that many platforms on which we speak. And so I was like, I want to provide that, because nurses need to have a voice. Nurses really need to have a voice. And that's what it's been like. It's been one of the best things ever. And as I did that, I found that talking to nurses and doing a podcast is the best thing to meet people, is the best thing to get to know people's stories and to get really the nuggets of experts. And so then recently I've started the Brains 2.0, because I've always been into trauma and emotional trauma. And so that I was just started because I was like, there are these solutions for trauma that people don't know. And again, I want to bring that to the world. So it's such an easy way to bring knowledge and expertise to the world in small bite-sized nuggets for people, that it's amazing. So I have loved doing that. I have loved seeing the impact. I've loved seeing the impact on other nurses and my family as well, because yeah, it's changed me. I think I'm a better nurse now. I'm a better friend. I'm a better professional, actually, because I know all these other nurses, and I've heard their stories. It's pretty amazing, right? Even you and I getting in touch like that.
Right,
It's been pretty
right.
amazing. So
Right.
yeah.
And I think that, us nurses, we do a we do a bang up job at downplaying who we are, right? Because there are a couple of nurses that I know for sure, for a fact, that have a doctoral degree in nursing that doesn't call themselves Doctor whoever they are, right? And I was like, you girl, you better highlight that. That doggone degree was hard. Like, you better highlight who you are, because that's who you are. And they were like, well, okay, that's what I'm going to do from this point forward. So being very, like you said, being very intentional about highlighting who we are as nurses and our expertise, and bringing that to the table and saying, we are amazing, because we are. Because sometimes you got to talk to yourself sometimes.
Yes, you do. You really do. And that's good. That's okay. Because we do. We really do need to bring that out. And there are so many amazing nurses, right? We're doing so phenomenal things, and people just don't know about it all the time. So yes, I totally agree. We need to get it out. We need to say it. Say it.
So what are some of the things that you have found hard about doing the business?
What's been hard about the business? I think, first of all, some of the stigma around it. So people even say, right, it's like, oh, you've been at Hopkins and you're doing this, right? And I mean, honestly, I hear that. And I'm like, I've changed more people's lives in the last 10 years doing what I do around helping people look at those brains, right? And then the 3-brain connection. Then I've changed at Hopkins in my 10, 12 years that I was there, right? So I think, but it's in small bite-sized pieces. You don't go to work every single day, right? You have those, and you have, like, I had a client this last month, and she made it all worth it, because after working together for 6 weeks, she has lupus, and she reduced her medication from 30 to 4. She started walking without a cane.
Wow.
I mean, so her depression was gone. And I'm like, girl, you make it all worthwhile all those times, because you don't always have those, right? It's not like day to day to day you have those instant miracles of people. I mean, I see a lot, but it's not every single day. And so when you hear that, that makes it worth for people. And that makes it worth saying, yes, I'm taking the different path, right? The non-beaten path, and making a difference. Because being in business, it does require you to have those business skills, right? To go out and talk to people and ask them, and the whole money piece, right? And asking them to invest in working with you versus in hospital where you don't have to do that. So it's a very different way of looking at nursing and at being in business. I have loved the flexibility of, though, and I don't think I can go back to having not that flexibility anymore. So I think in a way, I've put myself into a place. I mean, if I had to, I could do anything, but I don't want to anymore. I want the freedom of being able to have my own schedule, right? And doing it my own way in my own time, and finding the people I truly love to work with, I think, who God sends to me. Because I do feel like that people that I meet nowadays, and the more I've come further in my own trauma resolution, the more I've said, like, I need to live the life I really love too, right? Not just helping other people, but also really loving the life and doing the business the way I want to do it. I think I'm getting the best people nowadays that come to me, and the connection and the difference we're making by working together. I think we're meant to meet, and we're meant to do things together, and we're meant to solve whatever we have, right? I find that, even though it's hard with the business going sometimes up and down, and finding clients and working with the stigma of being a nurse outside the box and a nurse entrepreneur, when you do meet those people that are meant to work with you one way or another, that you're meant to have that relationship with, it's magical.
It is magical. It really is. It really is. Because, what I've learned is that like you said, I used to work the emergency department for years, and, I didn't have to go out and say, y'all come in here, but now it's a whole different thing. And so what I've had to do is I've had to change who I am, so I attract the right people, right? Because you attract who you are. And so I had to be very intentional about ensuring that I was that person that I wanted to attract, because all money is not good money. And every client you don't need, right? And so you want to make sure that you attract the right client. And so for me, it is about attracting the right client. And my clients are phenomenal. If they're listening, y'all just know that y'all phenomenal. Okay. We got that whole confidentiality statement. So I'm not going to tell who you are, but hey, youdebomb.com. so,
Yeah, I
so
love
now,
that.
so what are some of the primary reasons that you continue to be motivated at the business?
It's always the people. I think it's always the people. So I think there's a couple of driving factors. I think for one, I have a dream of being a big impact, and I find that a lot of nurse entrepreneurs have that commonality in place. Right? They are dreamers. They have a big vision for their business, for their lives, and I wake up every single day with wanting to have that impact. One of my biggest dreams is to make sure that people know that trauma can be changed in an instant, that trauma does not have to change your life forever. And it took a long time for me to do that, to realize that certain trauma that I had, emotional trauma from childhood, does not have to rule your life anymore, right? And as I see when I work with my clients, I'm like, it really doesn't. And the more I work with them, and you're right, the right people do come to you, and the right people meant to work with you come with you. I'm like, it's going faster and faster and faster. I have clients with childhood trauma, significant childhood trauma, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and honestly, we're going 1 or 2 sessions and we're changing it. We're literally changing it in that time. And like I said, it's moving faster and faster, because I think for me, God wants us to move faster and faster because he wants us to be who we are. He wants us to realize that we can truly, truly be who we are. And we don't have to have those old belief patterns and emotional patterns rule our lives anymore. So I really believe that the more I do that and the more I see the changes, I'm like, this is really working. And one of my big dreams is ultimately to have trauma centers with equine therapy and animal therapy. My dog is right behind me right now, being here at the same time. And I'm like, that's what I get up for every single day. That's what I make happen. So the people that I work with, the team that I work with, they are the reason why I get up. They're the reason why I smile. They're the reason why I do what I do. And yeah, if you can make an impact when you can help somebody truly feel better, right? And get off certain medications, or they change their relationships, or even change their business, and saying, hey, you can do what you want. And your dream, right? Your dream is not for nothing. You were not given that dream or that desire for nothing. If it's a desire that you truly have, and that can include making a lot of money, okay, and a lot of impact. If God gave you that desire, you better not stop, and you better not think it twice about it. You go for it, and you make a difference in whatever you feel. You make a difference, because I think God put that on your heart, and you go. You don't stop.
You know, it's one thing that you talk about, which is the brain. And Miles Monroe talked about the lion in the jungle. The lion is not the smartest, the lion is not the fastest, the lion is not the biggest, but the lion thinks that he is the king of the jungle. So it's all in what you think. And so he is not the fastest. The cheetah's the fastest. The biggest is the elephant. The tallest or the smartest is a hyena. Okay. Mm-hmm. But he thinks that he is the king of the jungle, and so everybody's scared of him, okay? Because he think he the king, right? And so you got to think that you're a king. You got to think that you're a queen. You got to think that you have it all together in order to be able to move what you want, advance what you want. And nurses don't necessarily have to work in the hospital. They don't have to necessarily work in the original setting or the acute setting or even the chronic setting. They or outpatient setting, but they just need to know that they have more to offer. And we're giving healthcare professionals something just different. It's just different. It's packaged different. And so you unleash us. It's gonna be
fun. Well, and I think that's what 2020 is doing for nurses. Honestly, I see it so much, because with all the stuff that's going on, and nurses anywhere, right, whatever they're doing, 2020 has been one heck of a year. But I think what they're waking up to is something they needed to, and that is saying the phenomenal care that they do give wherever they give it, right? But nurses can step up and do what they really want to do, and I see nurses doing all kinds of stuff, including functional medicine, including working with LGBTQ communities and standing up for that, including with doing certain research, right? There's nurses who do so amazing creative things. One doing with seizure pads, right? There's so many nurses who do amazing things right now. And we need to step up for that. We need to step up and say, yeah, we can do that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Now, what are some of the things that you wish you would have known at the beginning of your career?
Oh my goodness. What is something? I think I would have. What I would have liked to know that it's possible. That I think the feelings and the consciousness I got after Daniel passed away, that I can literally do anything, anytime, anywhere. I didn't know that. I thought that I needed another degree, or I needed another situation at work, or I needed another mentor, or I needed something more. I always thought I needed something more. And now I actually am to the point where I learn things because I love them and because I like them. And I know that when I learn them, God's going to send me another person, because sometimes I honestly am one step ahead of the client that I said. I read something, or I know I do a class, and literally a week later, I have a client that asks me that question that I can help with. Literally, sometimes it's that clear. So as you start living in that flow, I think literally God gives you the resources to help the people that you really need to help. So I think I would have known that, and it's okay, right? You learn that as you go, but that you really literally have that inside of you, that you can live any single moment in that inspiration point, in that divine flow, as you're listening to your divine, right? Whatever you want to call it. I call it God, but it can be divine, whatever it is. As you start listening very, very closely to that, it can lead you in any single moment, in any single decision, in any single situation with a client, or in your work, or in a personal life, whatever it is. So trust it and start trusting it. So I wish I would have known that, because I think I would have gone faster. But hey, it's all part of life. It's okay.
Yeah, we struggle with the resources when God is the source, right?
Yes.
And so,
everything
and
is available.
again, we're not trying to, put on you. I'm not trying to tell you to go after my God, but he's the bomb.com. I just want to let you know that, okay? He's amazing. So now, what does the next decade look like for you? What do you have on your vision board?
What about my vision board? I want to lead a team of 1,000 nurses. That's one of my vision boards. I am the whole mental fitness piece is with Annemarie Global. That's a phenomenal new company coming up, and I want to lead 1,000 nurses there, so we can have 1,000 millionaires there. That is really honestly one of my vision, because I do feel like if we have 1,000 nurses being millionaires, and that sounds so crazy, for a long time I had trouble with that. But here it is, 1,000 millionaires nurses could make lots and lots and lots of impact, because hands in the money of good people can do amazing, amazing things. So I think that's one of the things. And then the other thing is, I really want to get even super good in telling other people that when you change your brain, you change your life, and that emotional trauma patterns in your life don't have to stick there. And when you start living in that divine space, and start living in that beautiful divine space, again with God, but also for yourself, nothing is impossible. So let's start living there, because this world right now needs a lot of change. We need to have a lot of change. We need to have a lot of courage in this life right now. So ultimately, I see trauma centers in the future there, but I see a lot of people realizing that they don't have to live in the patterns that they grew up with, and they can change it by changing their brains.
That's exactly right. I love it. I love it. So now tell us where we can, where we can find you, where we can find, I guess we can go on iTunes. Can we go on iTunes to get your podcast?
You can. And also on Spotify. So AnnemarietTolman.com, ANNA, I'll let you put it down below, but AnnemarietTolman.com. That's my website, and you can find a lot of stuff. And Annemarie Tolman is still where I mostly go. So on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, you can find us there. And then the podcast, Nurses Outside the Box, in Spotify, iTunes, a lot of places as well. So you can find me in all those places, and it's all good.
Sweet, sweet. Well, it has been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you.
So, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce, again, owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be wealthy in all areas of their lives. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. You can follow us on Twitter, The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. You can also visit our website at vpnursing.com.